What's good, people? Agent Juice reporting for duty. So, Onward, the new Pixar movie, comes out this Friday. And I thought I would give kind of a preemptive thought rambling on the movie before it actually does come out. And then I will see it over the weekend, and then next week I will give a review and kind of compare and contrast my thoughts of before and afterward. Full disclosure, I've stated before, and I will state again, that Pixar is one of, if not the most favorite of my beloved animated studios. So I do have a heavy bias towards Onward and pretty much anything Pixar makes going in. And they have flubbed in the past, but I always, again, because of my bias, kind of give them more credence than I would normally. So do be aware of that, but I am going to kind of talk about what I'm thinking about this movie going in. So if you're interested in listening to these nonsensical ramblings and watching the speed paint I'm going to be creating, sit down, get on your magical pants, slap that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's go on a magical adventure. So, really quickly, before going into it, the piece I am painting right now is of the two brothers, the main characters in the movie, who are played by Chris Pratt and Tom Holland. And of course, they're known for their roles in the MCU as Star Lord and Spiderman, respectively. So I thought it would be cute to have the brothers dress up as those characters because it's amusing and doofy. And it was the first thing that came to my head, so I'm just going to roll with it. Pixar is responsible for my most favorite animated movie of all time, that being The Incredibles. And by extension, technically The Incredibles 2, because it's a continuation of that same story. I know a lot of people disliked Incredibles 2, but I liked it, and so, I'm just going to roll with it. And ever since The Incredibles, Pixar has pretty much solidified themselves in a rose-tinted glasses kind of position in my heart. I very much am more willing to overlook their flubs than I am other studios. And in my defense, I don't feel too bad about that because Pixar has incredible pedigree and they are a very good studio in general. So I don't feel as guilty about, giving into my bias towards Pixar as I would another studio that has made more mistakes or is less polished or something like that. In regards to seeing Onward, I feel like Onward itself feels like a movie on the razor's edge of could be interesting or could be lackluster. I have not seen The Good Dinosaur, which a lot of people consider Pixar's worst film behind like Cars. But Cars is different because Cars very much felt like a cash grab, like they made it so they could make money to make the stuff that they want to make. Whereas Good Dinosaur seemed like a piece that they actually wanted to put a lot of heart into, but it fell flat. I did see Brave, and I felt Brave was kind of the same way. As far as like the general consensus, where it very much felt like a story with heart. It wasn't a money machine, but it kind of fell flat. And when I watched it, I liked it, but it didn't captivate me the way that other Pixar films have in the past. And so, watching through the trailers of Onward, I'm getting a feeling that they may not have it entirely 100% on the mark this time around. Now, from what I gather from the trailer, the premise is quite simple. It's this goofy, what if the fantasy world evolved in technology like our own world? So now, there's cars and planes and magical beasts that were once considered special or vermin, like the unicorns or rats. And so it's got this, cute little setting. And it's a very tale as old as time story of, these two brothers who are going to go on an adventure to find their missing, or in this case, their dead dad, and bring him back to life, and, family, blah, 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 adventure, blah, 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 coming of age, blah, blah, blah. Very been done before. That being said, I do have to admit that I'm kind of a sucker for those kind of stories. So basically, on premise alone, Onward is kind of drawing me in. So I will admit that is part of one of the reasons why my interest is piqued. I really love fantasy aesthetics. I love the Lord of the Rings stuff. I love demons and wizards and broomsticks and swords and monsters and dragons and all that stuff, I love the concept of the 1970s van with a wizard spray painted on its side. I mean, that is my jam. I love that kind of stuff. I mean, I've been playing D&D for over 10 years, so that'll tell you how much of a hopeless romantic I am to the fantasy setting. Now, the older brother character, I know these characters have names, and they're probably, I can probably look them up online, but I'm too lazy to do that right now. And anyway, the bigger brother, the Chris Pratt character, he reminds me a lot of Jack Black, and particularly Eddie Riggs from the video game Brutal Legend. And because of that, because he's reminding me of Jack Black and because he's reminding me of Eddie Riggs and Brutal Legend, I have good memories of that character in that game. So I'm already having fun and having kind of a bias towards wanting to enjoy that particular character. So that's another draw to me. Another thing to acknowledge is that Pixar is pretty good when it comes to twists. Things that are unexpected and things that kind of pop up. And, sometimes their twists have been a little telegraphed. I think a good example is in Toy Story 3, Lotso the bear ending up being a villain. That was kind of like I saw that one coming. And, but that being said, I know Pixar likes to add a little extra flair here and there. Actually, funny aside, the one time I was kind of tricked into thinking there was going to be a twist, but it ended up being played straight, is in, what was it? Inside Out. Inside Out with the... Bing Bong, I think, is the name of the imaginary friend. I felt like they were teasing him that he was going to betray Joy in order to get back into Riley's memory. Like, basically, like in any means necessary, I want to be part of Riley's life again, even if that means backstabbing Joy. And he ends up sacrificing himself instead. That was kind of a reverse twist, and I was expecting him to be the secret villain. But, that ended up not happening, and if I recall correctly, I think there was a interview with the writers that said that that's what they were originally going to do with him, but then decided against it. I guess because they already pulled that with Toy Story 3 and they didn't want to repeat themselves. I guess the TLDR of what I'm trying to say is that I have reasonable hopes for this movie. They're not terribly high, because I do acknowledge that, Pixar has flubbed in the past, and I'm not totally 100% feeling this movie, but they're pulling a lot of dirty tricks, making me like it, like making it fantasy and making it a bro quest between a Jack Black-esque character and a nerd, and they're going to do cool stuff. And I would not be surprised if they make homages and references to power metal-esque things with all the demons and wizards, and like a Brutal Legend-esque kind of vibe to it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's even just a smidgen of that, peppered in there somewhere. So, because they're kind of playing a dirty trick on me, I'm kind of in the back of my mind shaking my fists like, "Darn you, Pixar! You're hitting below the belt here. You're making me want to see Onward really bad." But my intellectual side is smart enough to say, let's go in with a neutral opinion, and we shall judge based on its merit. So with all that being said, I have stated that I have a bias, so I am not a neutral voice. So don't really see me as a critic. I've never been a critic. Even for next week, I'm going to do a critique of this movie once I've seen it. I'm not an authority on this. I don't really plan on being an authority or a critic or any of that. So, take all this with a grain of salt. I'm just musing about the things I like in movies in general and in Pixar, and using this as an excuse to draw some fan art, basically. Who knows? I could be sorely disappointed, and I say "Oh, this movie was terrible. Oh, everything I thought it was going to be cool was actually sucky." Or, it could blow me out of the water. It's "Oh my God, forget Incredibles. This is the best Pixar movie I've ever seen." So only time will tell. And I'll get back to you when I actually watch it and can give you a real opinion. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this rambling for today. So you people know what to do at this point. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and hit those sacred buttons. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can stay on topic and, on task with all the stuff I crank out. In addition, please comment below. I always love to hear what you have to say, and I always try to answer as many of these as possible. It's always good to have a chat. And, and if you have any suggestions of future content, or if you have any thoughts of your own about whatever I talk about, it's always great to hear that. Also, go ahead and share the video. It's good for the channel, and it's good to show the world your good taste that you, watch my channel and watch these videos. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm still going to present my links to other social media You can see them here on screen. But I'm going to link you to my intro video that I made like almost a year ago that has all of my links to the external sites themselves. The reason why I'm doing that is because it turns out that YouTube doesn't like it when you link out of YouTube, and they kind of punish your videos for that. So I'm trying something different. So I'm linking to a YouTube video so that YouTube has more mercy on my pathetic soul. And with all that said, I thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you all stick around. And until next time, adeuces.